They'll blanket you in Wi-Fi and profit off the radiation. Congregation collecting the people for that Satan. I keeps it blazing, cause I can read between the lines. I ain't blind, we unwind what they're really saying. Genetically modify what you're tasting. Loan you that cottage promise, so now you live up in your mom's basement. Redesign time so your mind is always wasted. Programmed to crave the basics. Keep the beta in stasis. Pay the state, kid. You're in debt for being born. Messengers are more than just the price for being warned. Don't be alarmed, disconnect from their machinations. Stop subscribing to the folly of own nations. Bone breaking ain't the answer, cause they seek the ownership of souls. Spread the seeds and watch them grow. Break the chains of control. Break the chains of control.
So we, eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful friends, welcome to your Tuesday night edition of Rogue Ways. This June, whatever, 27th or 28th or something like that. 29th, holy shit, it's almost July 4th. I'm hearing all these fireworks going off and I hate them. I don't know about you, but I hate them. I hate them. Like, they're cool. I like that we get to be, like, childlike and play, and I like them for children, kind of. I get, like, why they're exciting for people, and they've really never been that exciting for me, so it was easy for me to come this far and just genuinely hate them, but the more I understood what they did to animals, the more I hated them. You know, like, everyone's dog just, like, freaks out. People lose their dogs run off and never come back. Their dogs just, like, cower in terror. People with certain types or certain triggers for their PTSD will, you know, have a really hard time for, like, a full week or more of our country's entire, like, everywhere you go. There's environmental damage, obviously. There's fires that get started, whatever. It's all bad, really. There's, like, not much good. And I was at a lake one 4th of July not that long ago and, you know, kind of, like, had to participate because it was, like, this family thing that I was involved in. And, you know, I don't want to, like, rain on everyone's parade. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I'll just, like, go sit there. But there's, like, this hawk or eagle. It's dark, so it's impossible to know for sure. But, like, the eagle's nest was clearly somewhere around the lake. Some fireworks went off. It got up and left its nest or whatever. More fireworks went off wherever it was headed. It, like, turned around and went the other way. More fireworks went off over there. It turned around. It flew around this fucking lake trying to run from fireworks for, like, 3 hours. It was the most depressing thing I've ever seen. And then I learned that massive amounts of birds abandon their nests and their babies every year, and their babies die because they leave, because they abandon them because of fireworks. So fuck fireworks. You could love them. I don't care, but I don't. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about all kinds of things that may or may not seem not very connected, but really they all come back to identities. And the identities and labels we give ourselves and how they're traps for us and how our masters and controllers know that and use them expertly to divide us and destroy us all the time. And how frustrating it is to watch people never fucking learn from it. And so I'm probably going to swear a lot tonight, and I'm not sorry about that. And if you don't like it, don't fucking listen. But we are going to talk about a lot of different things that are going on right now. And some of them connect with, and we're starting from the point of these mass graves that people are talking about right now, and that are some of which are being unearthed. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot else, and a lot of it is, again, just incredibly frustrating. And so, as always, I think you'll find that I have a pretty balanced approach. And I like to look at things from very many angles, and I like to try to take my own identity and my own personal emotions out of it, because that is the only way with which we can even pretend to try to see things objectively in any sense. And we don't always want objectivity. Sometimes you want subjectivity and you want the emotion, and there's purpose for it. And fact-finding and understanding context and reality, especially group reality, that's not when you want it. And that's especially what we're talking about today, too. So, a trigger warning, like every episode, all we talk about are things that would trigger some people. And so, like, the first motherfucker who comes and is like, I don't like it, well, fuck off and go somewhere else then. But if you like to think, and if you're one of the people left who still likes to think, please stay and please join us for this exploration of identity and the various ways in which it is used against us. Because it's easier for us to let it be used against us than it is for us to stand up and realize that our identity is not actually who or what we are. And so we'll begin. I just love the swearing thing too. This is so random, but I'm actually going to talk about partially this book I wrote too called A Gypsy on the Res. I wrote it a while ago. This is, God, I don't even know. I probably have a copyright somewhere in here. So this is 10 years old at least. Weird. And this copy is from a Goodwill, which is rad. That means someone bought it and brought it to a thing and someone else rebought it and now it's here. But this book, A Gypsy on the Res, is about my time teaching on a Native American reservation. And somebody read this book once and they were like, I really enjoyed this book, but you swear a lot. And I think that turns a lot of people off. And I was like, oh, okay. And they were like, so yeah, you should probably take the swearing out. And I was like, oh, no, thank you. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, no, thank you. And they're like, but some people won't like it. And I'm like, then some people can fuck off. This book isn't for them. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people are neutral about it. And I don't give a fuck about it. I didn't write the fucking book for them. They don't have to fucking read it. I don't give a shit if they do. So this book is just like this show. I don't care if you like it or not. It's rad if you do. It's awesome if you read it and you love it. It's awesome if you read it and you hate it. I have no attachment to what other people think of anything I do. So it's like that, right? It's like that. This book I have sitting in front of me, and I'm bringing it up too because we're talking about a lot of Native American stuff, and it's interesting because speaking of identity, it's very malleable and it's very fluid and it's very different for each person. And so 100% of the time in my life, if people are going to guess my race, they do not guess Native American, which makes sense. I don't look very much like it. And I was going to pull up my ancestry data and show it to you guys. And I was going to pull up pictures of my dad and show it to you guys. And then I was like, no, fuck anyone who needs that bullshit. I don't give a fuck if you think I'm white or not, or Native or not. I don't care. And it's fucked up that I feel like I have to fucking try to justify it to people who don't actually give a shit. Because all the motherfuckers who would care if I'm Native or not, enough to, and this is the part that's stupid, is that people are like, oh, is she Native or is she white? Because that's going to determine whether she's allowed to talk about these things or not. No, fuck all of that. Fuck anyone who is like that. I'm a fucking human being with eyes and a brain and a mouth, so I'm allowed to talk about whatever the fuck I want. So I wrote this book, and people were like, oh, she's racist. Well, first of all, if you read this book, there's not a fucking thing in it that's racist. But none of the people who called me racist for writing this read it, so they don't even fucking know. If you read this, actually, it's like, genuinely, I'm like in love with all of the people who I'm living and working with for the time that I'm writing this book while I'm living on this reservation, like deeply. Like I'm very much, and it's very obvious when you read it. So I don't know how you get racism out of that. But again, if you're looking at me and you're stupid enough to pretend to know my race or ethnic heritage or anything about my traditions or anything about my ancestors, and then you look at this and you think that I'm a white person writing about time on a reservation, it's really easy for you to be ignorant enough to say that I'm racist without doing any thinking at all. And that's like the whole point of this episode, is how little people are capable of thinking, especially when it comes to identity, especially when it comes to them being able to play victim cards and not think at all. Just not fucking think. It's fucking sickening. I'm so disgusted by it. If you can't tell, I'm so fucking over it. Like, it's so ridiculous. So the first motherfucker who comes at me and is like, I'm Native. Yeah, well, I am too. So go fuck yourself. I don't give a shit. The first motherfucker who comes at me and is like, believe Native people. Which one? Because there's ones who agree with me and there's ones who don't. So which one am I supposed to choose? Oh, the one who agrees with you is what you mean. That's what you mean. I've had this happen to me so many times. You were like, believe black women. I'm like, well, here's all these black women and they don't agree with each other. So which fucking one am I supposed to believe? How about I don't give a fuck what your fucking race or gender is, and I just use my brain to think, and I analyze things, and based on the merit of the actual data and objective truth, then I fucking judge shit. How about that? How about go fuck yourself? So if you don't like any of that, you should probably be gone already. I'm very grateful to all of you who are here. I'm very grateful in general to all the people who interact in this community, who comment, who share, who support me in various ways. I'm very lucky to have people who come to rogue.locals.com and join the community and support the show in that way. I'm very lucky to people who have bought my book and read it and like it or don't like it, but support me in that way. Very grateful to people who go to my site and, oh, what have I done? Oh, that's not even the right screen. I was going to show you my site, and now I can't. My face is going to move around a little bit. Very grateful to the people who go to my site and find ways to support me. See, this is one more reason why I need to set this up better. But anyways, which I'm going to show you to remind you of the ways that you can support me and the show Rogue Ways. If you do like the content, if you find value here, there's all kinds of ways on the site. And by the way, to the fucking random person who was like, no, why does she have to like have a commercial at the beginning of her show? The show's really getting, like, go fuck yourself. If you don't like it, go fuck. Why do you even have to take the time to say it? Just leave. Nobody wants you here. If you don't understand that people have to like eat and pay rent, like just die. Like I just fuck off. People are so fucking stupid. She's just like trying to make money. Like, yeah, like 100% of humans. I need money to survive, unfortunately. I'd love to like get the fucking off-grid, organic, self-sustaining shit going for good, but it's one step at a time. So until then, happy to provide these things and these services for people, and super grateful to the people who enjoy all of them, whether it's the blessed jewelry, crystals, orgone, whether it's the art and the books that I write, whether it's the different merch and things you can buy, the consultation, the courses I teach, the tarot and the guidance sessions and ceremony that I do, no matter what it is. Thank you so much to all those people. I'm truly, truly blessed to be able to do what I love, do what's helpful for others, and find people who appreciate these things. And the people who don't, fuck you. So anyway, moving on. We're just gonna jump into it. And by the way, hello Jesus or Jesus Lopez, and Lawnmower Man over in YouTube, and the other people who haven't said hello yet over there. If you want to jump over to Rockfin, the link is right below you, and it's way better. It's way better for me. It's way better for you. YouTube is a piece of shit. Censorship-ridden fuckhole. So just leave it behind and hop over to Rockfin. It's free. And if you do pay, you get access to all my exclusive content, including the tarot reading I just dropped for July, which is very effective at summarizing what we can look forward to, just as it is every month. And as for the people in Rockfin, thank you to Rebecca. Thank you for the tip, Rebecca. I super appreciate it. Love you back. Thank you. What's up, Snake Jones? Nice to see you. Bad B, nice to see you. Thank you so much for the tip. Thank you so much for loving the swearing. What's up, Stephanie? What's up, Aaron? Thank you for the tip, Aaron. Super good to see you all. Oh God, and the UBI is coming, and I could have a whole rant about that too. But right now, I'm more pissed about this shit. Let me say first off, because I was raised as a person with a Native American heritage and identity, I grew up knowing that there was genocide, that land was stolen, that it was awful, that natives were put on reservations, that most of them still lived in poverty now because of what was taken from them and where they were forced to, because of all the trauma that they had undergone, because of their families getting intentionally ripped apart. Because especially of the church coming in to restructure their entire world and steal their children from them, who were forced into residential schools where they were raped, tortured, brutalized, and murdered. None of that is news to me. None of that is news to any Native person I've ever met. None of it, in fact, is news to any of the people I knew growing up who thought it all. White people, brown people, any people, all of them. That's just true. So this is coming out now. It's especially sad. It's fucking horrible. It's also really, really fucking old news. This is maybe a new grave. That's even contestable. Is it a new grave, or did they just finally decide to unearth it? Because again, we've known of this for decades. It's not even when I was young did we find out. It goes way back, right? People have known since it was happening, you know? And, like, I'm sorry that enough people now have been ignorant and, like, satisfied and fucking pampered and babied enough that they didn't know. That's not their fault, and I don't really care. But to pretend like it's new is ridiculous. So when this came out, I was like, yep, more of the same. And people were like, oh, well, I'm Native. And I, for one, am offended that you would say that. And I'm like, well, fuck you. I'm Native, too. And how the fuck would you be offended that I was saying that this has been going on forever and that people have known about it forever? This is just now becoming all the fucking rage. Just like, I'll remind you, a little while ago it was Asian fucking hate or something, and before that it was like black hate, and who knows what the fuck it's gonna be next month. And that's the whole fucking point. All of us were stopped in our tracks to draw our attention over here and look at this atrocity that's super old that we already knew of and already had all the evidence of and already fucking knew of, and look at it and cry and scream and lament. And then anybody who's like, wait, why are we pretending like this is new, is fucking shouted down, because what we're supposed to do instead is be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's all now, I guess, have like Native Hate Month and all like let any fucking Native person who wants to take advantage of this as a chance to be a victim and feel fucking horrified and oppressed to just stand on a fucking soapbox and shout the rest of us down for trying to think at all, why are our masters telling us to be sad about this right now? Do they harness the energy from that and use it for something? Probably. That's what they've always fucking done, right? And then, is there something they're distracting us from? Probably. That's what they've always fucking done. And finally, why are you letting them control what you think about? Why are you letting them control what you think about? I'm not saying don't think about it. I'm not saying don't be sad about it. I'm not saying pretend like it didn't happen. I'm saying ask yourself the question, why are they talking about it right now? All of the media, all of them. They don't do coordinated shit like this unless it's meant to disrupt and distract and divide and conquer in some way. And I'm not going to stop saying that because some fucking motherfucker wants to pretend they're like more native than me and more upset about it than me. Go fuck yourself. Yes, it's fucking horrible. Tons of fucking children were tortured. Tons of children are still being tortured. I'm not going to lie. I'm way more concerned about the children that are being tortured right now than these children that I've been sad about for decades and already fucking come to terms with and dealt with emotionally and understood that this is something I cannot go back and change and now have moved on from. I'm very sorry for the people who haven't moved on from it yet. That's a very tough thing to deal with. And I'm also much more wondering what we're going to do about the children who are still being mass murdered, trafficked, raped, and killed right now. Fucking right now. They're not all native either. What a fucking astonishing fact. They're of all colors. They're just the one thing in common. They're children. And another thing they most likely have in common is they're of poverty. What a fucking stunning revelation that children still are being by the same motherfuckers too. This is the part that pisses me off. Now people are fighting amongst each other. They're like, oh, you don't know enough about natives. Oh, you do know enough about, oh, you don't care enough about natives. And like, oh, we should be fucking talking about it again for the 60 billionth time. Instead of saying, what the fuck can we fucking do about children right now who are still alive, still being raped and tortured? I'm not saying you have to pick one over the other either. I'm just saying you should fucking ask why. Why are we all focused on it all of a sudden? Just like last month when we were all fucking focused on Asians all of a sudden. Oh, because we didn't focus on it enough before. Motherfucker, I've been focused on it my whole fucking life. Every fucking person I know who's native has been focused on it their whole fucking life. Lots and lots of other people who aren't native have been too. Not everyone is going to remember every fucking atrocity of history and cry about it all the fucking time. It's not what happens. It's not how it should even be. Why should we spend our life crying about and remembering every fucking detail of every massacre? There's been so fucking many all over the goddamn world. All of them have been perpetrated by the exact same class of people. And now they're using it to fucking divide us again. It's fucked up. People just fall into it. They're like, well, I'm native, so it's bad and you're bad for not being as upset as me right now, or some fucking bullshit. If you didn't think this was not new in any way, here's something from fucking, 2011? So that's already 10 years ago, and this wasn't new when it came out either. This is a book by Kevin Annett called Murder by Decree. This is all about all the children who were stolen from their tribes in fucking horrendous atrocity and shoved into these schools, so-called, and raped and tortured and killed. This book came out that many years ago. People are like, yeah, but it was repressed. Well, fucking everything is. Chemtrails are. Everything true is. Yeah, it was repressed. All of it is. I'm not saying don't talk about it. I'm saying don't pretend it's new and ask yourself why we're suddenly obsessed. Why now? D. John makes a good point. Unless media covers it, it doesn't exist. That's what pisses me off. That's what I'm fucking pissed about, is that we can know that and then still go along with them when they program us. They'll come out with a campaign like this, and even this community of people who claims to be awake and aware and looking will fall right into it and be like, yeah, fucking fuck Christians and churches and white people and go natives. And you're like, hold up, like, what are you doing? What are you fucking doing? Calm the fuck down and think for a fucking second before you just rush the fuck off and screech. You become the exact fucking, remember that fucking screeching girl on the road when like Trump won or something and she's like, you're that person now because you let the media fucking tell you how to feel and then you like exploded. I'm not saying it's easy. It's fucking atrocious. It's horrifying. You know, and if you are Native and you identify with that and you are raised with this and you know how oppressed and how horrible, then it's pretty raw. And you still have the responsibility to fucking think. Okay. I was like, fucking pissed off. I get more pissed off about it because people are like, yeah, well, I'm Native and you don't know. And I'm like, I will fucking stab your goddamn face, you fuck. Who the fuck are you? Why would you ever tell someone what their fucking heritage is? You don't fucking know. Well, you don't look it. Oh, thanks. Thanks for stealing my entire fucking life and history because of what I look like. Isn't that the definition of racism, you sorry fuck? God damn it. What is wrong with you? It's because people need the fucking attention and they need the fucking emotional shit. They haven't dealt with their shit enough to be able to deal with people like fucking humans, so they just spew nonsense. Like, you have a fucking responsibility to heal yourself more than this. It's fucked up. Anyways, you can get this book for free. It's probably fucking amazing. I'll give you the link. I love it when people are like, look, this information is so important that you can just have my book. So if any of you would like to go download this and read it. And give this person some love. Maybe buy it. Maybe share with them. But anyway, just to show you, like, this was not new when the book came out either. Okay. Also, then we start to get into like, because now we're like on this specific race or quote unquote, we're on this fucking peoples, and now we all have to be like really guilty and sad and upset and like raging against each other instead of the people who caused this. But you know, for some reason that makes sense about this for who knows how long, a month, 2, we'll see. So the other thing that comes up a lot is how many Native women are disappeared or murdered or raped or whatever. And it, again, is it fucking horrible. It's awful. There's a lot. On this reservation I lived on, again, there was many, many women who were murdered and abused and fucked. I'll add that there was many children who were too, and there was many men who were too. And I'll add that we can look at other communities that aren't Native that have almost the exact same levels of these things, and we can wonder, is it really just race that determines this, or is there something else? And probably if we're very astute and we do enough research and crunching of numbers and data points, we'll see that the number one thing that these people all have in common is poverty. Poverty is an intentional tool used by the psychopath class in order to hold us all down. And this is one thing that we should all identify with, is not being in power, money equaling power in this society, and not having access to things like justice or safety or whatever because of that. And then we should realize those motherfuckers don't give a shit what color we are, and we shouldn't give a fuck what color we are, and we shouldn't fucking fight amongst each other because some of us are black, brown, red, yellow, or any other fucking color. That's exactly what they fucking want. So back to the point, it is very sad that Native women experience this seemingly at a higher rate than other communities. However, when you start to look, you can ask many questions that are really good. And again, you have to get past emotion first in order to even ask these questions. And when you do, some ignorant motherfucker is going to come out to silence you. Literally, that's the only reason why. It's not because they actually think you're saying something wrong. They, in fact, haven't thought at all. But they want you to shut up. Because when you ask these questions, you take away the narrative that it's 100% about race. And you take that away and you ask the question, is there something else going on? Again, poverty tends to be a really strong correlate between whether or not your community is going to experience a high number of murders, rapes, abuses, and other atrocities. Beyond that, I want down the Highway of Tears. It's called the Highway of Tears because lots and lots of women especially seem to disappear from these communities. Let's look at this sign and what it says. It says, "Girls, don't hitchhike on the Highway of Tears. There's killers on the loose." Well, that's always good advice to anybody in any community, anywhere, at any time, of any monetary level. It's probably safer not to hitchhike. There's always killers on the loose. They're always looking for people of what? Are they always looking for people who are Native? No. Are they always even looking for women? No. What do killers and abusers look for? They look for people who are powerless. Do Native communities tend to have less power? Absolutely. So do many, many others. Again, the point being, it might not be that they're Native that is the main factor in what's happening here. It might be. I might be totally wrong, but I like to ask questions and think. So I drove down this highway and I was like, that's really, really sad. I already have known my whole life that there seems to be a higher number of Native women who go missing, who get murdered, who whatever. So I understand that that's true and I see this, and of course it's very, very sad. Then I talk to people and I say, wow, isn't that so sad? And they say, well, I don't want to say that's not what's going on. But, it's also true that a lot of reservations are very rural, very remote, very, very, I don't know if you've grown up in a very small town like I have, but a lot of reservations are even smaller. Some are huge, but a lot are even smaller than the small town I grew up in. And it's very constrictive. You don't really have a choice about who you are because everyone decides for you and you can't change, right? Not very easily. There's not a lot of opportunity often. Sometimes you just fucking want something new and something else. So well, in these communities, a lot of times they're really rural, whatever. Sometimes people just want to get away. Sometimes they just want to go, and sometimes they don't want to tell anybody where they're going. Sometimes they change their name. You'll notice that what people say is a lot of Native women disappear or are murdered, and they will merge those two categories almost ubiquitously. You go try to find stats, and you try to find the ones that separate out those who disappeared and those who were very clearly murdered. And I'm not saying that they're not. It's very possible that every single one of them was taken and murdered. But even the people who are making the signs for their own community say, don't hitchhike. So even the people there are admitting to some extent, some of these people are just leaving. They just left and they did a dangerous thing and maybe something really bad happened to them. Or maybe they made it to their fucking dream location and they were like, I'm finally free. I'm going to be fucking Sally Lou now. That's my new name. My identity is this and I'm going to start a new life. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. But if you point out all those things at once, you start to wonder, is it really true that Native women only are at the highest fucking category of likeliness to be abducted, murdered, or disappeared, or raped, or whatever? It's possible, but it's also possible some of them actually left and didn't want anyone to know that it has more to do with poverty than anything else, and that you should probably separate out the category of disappeared and murdered as much as possible, at least, so that we can at least know what we're talking about. Those are some things I'm going to point out. Again, for any fucking retard out there who doesn't understand what I'm saying, I know how sad and horrible it is. I have long since dealt with and talked about ad nauseum how horrible and how sad, and thought about it and dealt with it and sat with it and cried about it and all of that shit. And then I finally one day was like, I've never fucking asked a goddamn question about it though, have I? Nope. And then I started asking questions and then I thought, well, I don't actually know. And no one does. And if you think you do, by all means, share some data with me that might enlighten me. But if it's any of the shit I already shared, I'm just going to fucking block you for being a fucking retard because I already fucking said it. So yes, they're being taken and murdered. Maybe. I think a lot are. I think it's a pretty high statistic. I think that it's very, very high, especially in Native communities. Again, probably because many and most Native communities are in severe poverty and have very little power. And is it Native women specifically, or is it women? Is it women in poverty? If we look back through history, through all the populations, especially when women are in poverty, it seems to be that this is a trend. So that would be something that I would be interested in looking at too. Is it just Native women, or is it women who don't have power? And Native women tend not to. So that makes a lot of sense why there would be a lot. But again, even this site here, Indigenous women are 12 times more like, oh, maybe it's not this one. There's one where you can see the graphs of it. And graphs are interesting, you know, it's hard to know exactly what's going on. But you look at it, they're like, Native women are 12 times more likely. But then you see the graph and they're almost all exactly the same. And again, if you took out race and you just said how many of these are in poverty, you'd probably fucking even out pretty fucking quick. So I'm not saying that like Native women have it easy or great or that nothing bad has ever happened. No, I'm saying the opposite. Bad shit happens. I'm just saying if you just want to be a victim and say, yep, all Native people are fucked and they always will be, and especially women, so fuck, let's all cry and like be angry and yell at anyone who asks a question about it and tries to get to an even deeper, perhaps, analysis that might show us something that's true about our entire culture, not just different subgroups and fucking like colors of people in our culture. And then you look all throughout history and then you start to see trends and you start to see, and this is why they don't want you to talk about it. Not people who are still stuck in this narrative, the people creating the narrative and shutting it down on us. They don't want you to talk about it because you start to be able to then see who are the perpetrators every time, everywhere around the world, all throughout history. And it's the same motherfuckers every time. And when you start to get to that point, you start to not really give a shit anymore what fucking color people are. You start to give a shit instead, what fucking side are they on? Are they on the fucking psychopath side or are they on my like human side? I don't give a fuck what color you are. If you're on the human side, cool, you're rad, right? If you're not, fuck, you're evil and you should die. It's fucked up. So, and again, as always, we should wonder why would we not be able to talk about anything? If there's ever something you're not allowed to talk about and someone tries to silence you, especially through name calling instead of just fucking fact, then there's a fucking hint that that's exactly what you should be thinking about. That's exactly what you should be talking about. And you should be looking really deeply at that. Anytime someone just spews emotion at you, that person A is fucking broken and needs to take a break and heal themselves and get the fuck away from other people until they do. And B, they're trying to control you. You don't get to control other people. Especially your emotion does not get to inform my behavior and what I think about and talk about. So anytime someone's like, oh, I'm Native and fuck you, I'm like, bye. Like, we don't get to talk anymore, you know? Like, and especially if you're like, trust all Native people. I'm like, well, I'm one. So what? Trust me or trust you? Trust who? Trust my fucking self is what I'll do. I'll fucking use my brain to think. I'll trust myself and I'll talk about whatever the fuck I want because that's where I get to the fucking truth. Maybe it was this one that talked about women in poverty in general. There tends to be more women in poverty than men. That's absolutely true. We could do a whole show about this too. Why? Why are women living in poverty more than men? Who destroyed the nuclear family? Who destroyed the fucking structure of how people used to take care of their family? Used to be that there was enough money coming in and then someone who could stay home and take care of kids. Then we went in and fucked everybody's brains up and we were like, you could just fuck and make babies and never take care of them and run off and fucking do whatever the fuck you want. And then who always gets stuck with a kid? Almost always it's women. And of course you're going to live in poverty if you're raising a kid by yourself. It's really fucking hard. So yeah, women live in poverty more often. Not because everyone's sexist as fuck, but because our society was destroyed intentionally by psychopaths. Again, it always comes back to the fucking psychopaths. But there's another thing that if you say that, people fucking lose their mind. They're like, you don't understand the oppression of women throughout history. No, I fucking do, actually. I fucking do, and I used to be where you are, just lamenting the oppression of women. Now I'm way beyond that, wondering who created the oppression of women. It wasn't men. It was fucking psychopath class. Jesus Christ. Okay, here. Oh, that's the poverty one. I don't know, maybe I didn't keep the graph that was like about murder and blah, blah, blah. And then there's all this shit too. There's all this bullshit in there. They're like, women are less likely to make as much money as men. It's not actually true. I found out someday when I started thinking more and being emotional less. I found out that of women who have the same experience level and years in the field as men who do, they tend to make the exact fucking same amount. Wonder of wonders. Why does no one know that? Because they don't use statistics right. They fucking purposely misrepresent. They give you random factoids out of context and they tell you things without... It's like this fucking... this fucking woman, whoever that, she's probably awesome in many ways, whatever. I don't know her enough to talk about her, but just this article, she's like, Native women are paid less than white men. Here's the way to fix it. Well, are they really? She doesn't ever present that argument. She never does. She just says it's true. If she does the exact same thing that they do when they say women does. Look, they make 58 cents on the dollar. Okay, well, are you comparing, I don't know, experience and years of fucking actual, like, in the fucking field work in that, maybe even with that company or whatever? Or are you just, like, grabbing random people in the same job and comparing their pay? How would that ever be fair? But that's what people do. And this woman does the same. She just throws out unsubstantiated claims, just like everyone does, when they're trying to fucking avoid actually thinking and just using your emotion to make you do what they want. And she does the same fucking thing as this fucking article and this fucking article and all these fucking people. And this is my favorite way of showing people how stupid it is to just look at random facts, completely devoid of context, completely devoid of analysis. The Dangers of Bread. Hopefully you've seen this. It's rad. It's super old. I'm pretty sure I found this in like 1998. Anyways, this person's like, when are we going to do something about bread? It's horrible. Here's some research. 1, more than 98% of convicted felons are bread eaters. Fully half of all children who grow up in bread-consuming households score below average on standardized tests. Here's a hint. Half of everyone does. In the 18th century, when virtually all bread was baked in the home, the average life expectancy was less than 50 years. Infant mortality rates were unacceptably high. Many women died in childbirth, and diseases such as typhoid, yellow fever, and influenza ravaged whole nations. Every single one of these is a true statement. But then you ask yourself, does it fucking matter? More than 90% of violent crimes are committed within 24 hours of eating bread. And this is exactly how the media does it, right? They're like, oh, Native women make 58 cents compared to white men. Okay, but like, again, where, when, under what circumstances, with how much experience for each of them, with how much skill level, with how many positive reviews or whatever the fuck, you know? And I'm not even saying all of that is always perfect, but like, you can't just tell me a random fucking 90% of violent crimes are committed within 24 hours of eating bread and then have me expect me to be like, oh, let's ban all bread. But this is how stupid everybody is they're like, yeah, but bread is really bad. Felons eat bread. Half of children who eat bread score below average on standardized tests. This is really bad, guys. Why don't you care about kids? And you're like, dude, you fucking can't think. You can't think. And if I try to think and I try to say it out loud, people are like, oh, you're a fucking kid hater and you're racist. Well, that's really convenient for you because you get to go on not thinking at all, being super emotional and not having proven anything nor reinforced any of your claims. As little as 1 pound of dough can be used to suffocate a mouse. Blah, blah, blah. This is just, it's a fun thing to show you exactly how stupid it is to take any random factoid out of fucking context and just pretend like you know something because of it. And it's exactly the same when people are like, oh, there's more Native women that disappear and are murdered than any other. Well, if you add in disappearances and murders, maybe that's slightly true. It's slightly above many other groups of women. One of the main factors might be poverty or something else, but you didn't take the time to know. You just took the number and ran with it. This is how stupid everyone is, though. Snopes had to do a fact check on the dangers of bread. On this, which was very clearly made to make fun of people who just believe factoids and don't do any research, and the people who manipulate statistics in order to get people to do stupid shit. That's how stupid people are. They're like, well, I read that bread was really bad. And Snopes came in and was like, it's actually false. It's actually not true. I'm like, dude. Like, if this is how stupid, I can't fucking live on this planet anymore. This is fucking ridiculous. Like, how can you talk about the nuances of race relations, murders, disappearances, poverty, and the psychopath class with people who don't understand a fucking joke when they see it? Like, fuck you. Hopefully Snopes just did this because they're ridiculous and not because enough people actually asked them. I don't know. That's what I want to believe. I'll try to believe it. I'll check in with the chat. See if you guys hate me yet. I'm just like, hey, if somebody watches this and they're like, I hate her, good. Go away. Nobody wants you here. Yes. Stephanie points out, you will put yourself in some pretty dangerous situations if you're desperate, especially if you have kids. And that's my point about the poverty thing and the destruction of the family thing and the destruction of our whole social fabric thing. Because we used to have ways to take care of each other. We used to, John Coleman and I most recently were talking about this. I've talked about it a lot on this show. The groups and community organizations and clubs were specifically targeted. The putting more and more time into commuting and our job and less into building community is a targeted, purposeful thing. The destruction of the family to take away the ability to create a non-poverty home for children and yourself is purposely targeted and take it away because people will do desperate, stupid shit when they're fucking desperate. And that's exactly true. And so, yeah, a lot more people die when they're desperate and they're running around trying to figure out what the fuck to do, And that's intentional and it has no racial barrier. Yeah. People are liking the fucks. Good. Over to YouTube. I always look at the comments over on Rockfin first, by the way, just because those peeps, I love you all, but Rockfin is my preferred platform, and so if you're over there, I'm going to give you my attention first. But what's up, Ben Conrad the third? Truth is forever. That's right. This is why I'm like, I don't give a shit if you like my book. I don't give a shit if you like this show. I don't give a shit about any of it. I give a shit if I fucking talk and think and use time to think and talk and find fucking truth because of it. And like, I'm fucking always open to people. Somebody could come tomorrow and lay out just the clearest case of why it actually is just Native women. It's the worst. It's way worse than any other fucking class of people in the world. And here's why and how we know it's for sure. Put to bed all my fucking questions. That'd be rad. For now, I'm like, no one ever has. Everyone's just fucking screeches, cries, and then tells me I'm racist. And it's fucking ridiculous. Oh, nice. Awkwardly Awesome is going to go drive the Highway of Tears. It's not the nicest highway, to be honest, but, it gets you places. It's pretty sad. It's pretty far out there. I would definitely try to leave if I were there, especially as a young person. Another thing with this, I couldn't find the actual tweet, so I don't even know why I'm saying this, but there's this whole debate going on about whether or not fucking like Baltimore and Chicago and all these places are actually having like higher crime or not. And a lot of the people on the left are like, no, the murder rate, the like robbery rate is the exact same as it was like 3 years ago or something. And it's like, and a lot of the people on the right, and unfortunately that's the left-right divide is fucking stupid too, but that's the way it is. A lot of people on the right are like, okay, but again, you're like not mathing correct. You're not logicking correctly. Lots of people moved away and the crime stayed the same. That means the crime went up. People are like, no, the numbers didn't go up. Like, I can't, go back to the fucking bread thing. Like, if you just take a number and you don't actually look at the context, then you're going to be retarded in your ability to understand reality. And again, the whole question should be every time, and we've talked about this every fucking time, every time they switch the dial and they go into a new fucking media cycle, every time we talk about this again, why this and why now? Why this and why now? Why did they suddenly decide that it was Native time? Well, let's look. The Asian thing didn't really stick. Nobody really cared that much because it was really pretty quickly actually like poked holes in it to show that like actually, if you're going to look at it racially, way more black on Asian crime than anything else. So you're going to call that white supremacy? That doesn't fit your narrative. Oops, we got to turn it then. Almost no one can fight against the fucking white supremacy aspect of like the Native oppression thing. So let's go there, right? Because who came in and like pushed all the natives out? White people. Who came in and put them all in these fucking schools and fucked their kids and murdered them? White people. So who can argue against that? Well, no one. But again, let's actually look deeper at that, right? And just let's remember, your fucking identity is always going to be a trap. It's always going to be a trap. Look at this fucking propaganda. They're like, blue donkeys say these things and red elephants say these things and there's nothing else. There's only blue donkeys and red elephants. There's no blue donkeys who don't love feminism. There's no blue donkeys who don't love Black Lives Matter. In fact, if you aren't super glad about Black Lives Matter, you're not a blue donkey. You're not good enough. If you're not for the death penalty, then you're not a red elephant. Like, it's just fucking stupid. And people are just like, yeah, I'm a red elephant and I think this. And then if you question it, fuck you. I will attack the fuck out of you. Like, just emotional, just mindless, emotional bullshit because of this identity. People always ask you too, what are you? Are you Republican or you're Democrat? I'm fucking neither. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, you can't even conceive anymore. Your brain has been so dismantled that you can't even imagine being something other than what you were told you had to be. You were given these false dichotomies, these categories to put yourself in, and that's all your fucking brain can do anymore? Like, god damn it. Fucking think. And it allows people to do shit like this. They're like, oh, blue donkeys like all these people and red elephants only like white men. Like, what the fuck? You can find 10 billion exceptions to this very untrue caricature of bullshit about this identity. But these motherfuckers will never see them because they've decided. Once you have this fucking label and this identity, you can be parroted down, dismissed, carted off, fucking put in a box, and that's it. You're just that. You're nothing else. And it goes the other way too. This fucking giant hand here is the psychopath class. Any motherfucker with any identity at all is this stupid fucking bum, right? You're the key to my success. This is the whole reason they want us fighting about all this shit. It's the whole reason why they fucking bring a new thing up every time, right? And there's many layers to it. They have many layers. One of them is division, and that works every fucking time, and that's why I get so fucking angry, because even people in this community fall into this stupid fucking trap every fucking time. So you're being used. You gave yourself that fucking label, right? I was actually kind of lucky that every motherfucker I ever met was like, you're not Native, because I have that identity, and at the same time, I'm not attached to it because no one will let me. So I've learned really early, like, I don't get to have that identity. And so when they're like, oh, well, Native this and that, I'm like, well, it kind of applies to me and kind of doesn't, because I kind of am and not really allowed to be. So maybe that was kind of freeing in a way, right? And maybe it kind of helped me like see like how limiting, how like good in some ways. It's good to know your culture and be connected, especially to like tradition and your roots and your family and all of that stuff. It's good to have some of those things. And it's also really fucking bad to say like, I am this. And that is what I am. Like, no, it's an aspect of your being in a rich context. And if you ignore that context, then you ignore everything and you let yourself be controlled and minimized. My dad would have loved this shirt. He would have worn this shirt super happily. This is exactly his attitude. And I just bring it up because, again, being even more Native than me, this image here, I'm just guessing that there's a bunch of people who are like, oh, that's just racist. Oh, look at this like feathered fucking headdress and that nose or whatever. And I guarantee you 98% of those people actually are white. Actually white. Like white people saying that. I guarantee it. I guarantee you almost no Native people are looking at this and thinking, how dare someone put a head-dressed man on a shirt and call them a Native American? My dad wouldn't have. All the people on the reservation that I lived with, almost all of them wouldn't have fucking given a shit, and they would have laughed. In fact, they would have laughed that it said Native American. That would have cracked them up. I went into their little fucking classroom like super white culture woman, but very aware of my like Native American roots, and very aware that I wasn't going to bring them up because I don't get to be Native, and also very aware that like you do the whole fucking politically correct like bullshit thing, right? So I'm like, oh, my Native American students, and eventually they were like, Miss Brown, like, why are you calling us Native Americans? And I was like, well, I mean, isn't that like what you are? And they're like, we're Indians. I was like, oh, but that's like not, it wasn't correct. And Christopher Columbus and the whole fucking white guilt PC bullshit like rolled out of my mouth. And they're like, yeah, we call ourselves Indians and you can call us Indians, and actually please call us Indians because that's what we are. I was like, word, like, I'm not going to tell you can't call yourself Indians, But a bunch of white motherfuckers would. They'd be like, no, it can't say Indians, it has to say Native American, it's rude, it's racist, it's da-da-da-da. You go into a group of fucking Native people and they're like, no, call us Indians, bitch. And this is why I fucking hate it. Because motherfuckers will come up to you like they fucking know a thing. And especially if they're not in that culture and be like, you're doing this wrong and you should do it like this. Oh, did you go ask? Did you go poll fucking people? Or did some fucking white professor at a liberal ass university tell you that that was the way and you just started doing it? And now you don't fucking question a thing. Yes, you're allowed to wear this shirt if you want to. Anybody can wear this fucking shirt. Anybody can like that fucking picture. Anybody can not fucking like it. And it doesn't fucking matter. And it's none of your goddamn business. If someone else is wearing it and you don't like it, you can not fucking look. Close your eyes, walk away, and shut the fuck up. But it is rad that there are a lot of very rich Native communities still with a super, like, in touch with their traditions, who haven't let that die, haven't let it be taken from them, have tried to salvage what they can, and who feel very strongly that they are here to still protect their space and their territory that they still have connection with and roots in. And especially we see that in some environmental movements that are very powerful, and in others like Native rights movements and, you know, getting their access back to various land and water rights and fishing and hunting rights and all that sort of stuff. That's rad. That's super cool. I'm very grateful that there's still so many, you know, despite the psychopath class trying to eradicate all of it, it didn't work. And that's very cool, very beautiful. I'm super excited about it. You know, and that there's memory of the atrocity. Again, people act like, oh, like, I don't, like, no one ever told me, like, why didn't anyone tell me? I'm like, oh, fuck, I'll get into it. It just fucking drives you nuts. Yes, people told it. Yes, there's been awareness. Back in the fucking 50s and 60s, it was like, 70s, like, all of it, like, this huge fucking thing. Like, yeah, it's fucking known. People knew. If you didn't, not anyone's fault but fucking yours. Like, Jesus Christ. Okay, but this motherfucking thing... This fucking pisses me off. People are like, oh, we're natives and you're not. And like, we're native. You're like, this isn't your land. And we're not. Who's not native? Raise your hand if you're not native. Do you see yourself on this map? Do you see an area of the world that your ancestors are from as indigenous native people to that land? Well, then you're fucking native. I get so fucking sick of this. Oh, white people don't have culture, or like, blah, blah, blah. Everybody has a native culture. 100% of humans, as far as I know, are from somewhere where they were fucking close to the land and had rich traditions and had fucking culture and were fucking native. Like, god damn it. It's fucking sickening. People in our fucking country and in Canada, like, are obsessed with this. They're like, this is fucking native land. All land is native land. They're like, yeah, but this belongs to native people. All people are native people. They're like, yeah, but white people came in. Okay, but most of the white people who came in did not come in to steal anybody's fucking land. Why did they come in? Why did white people come to North America? For the most part. People are like, oh, to like steal gold and trees. No. That's why the psychopaths came. Are the psychopaths everyone? No. Were the people who were coming over mostly in the psychopath class? No. Why were they coming over? Well, just fucking think back to any of your fucking history and don't fucking tell me you weren't taught history. I don't fucking believe you. And if, fuck you, go learn it then. Why did they come to America? Well, I don't know if you remember tons of fucking like plagues and famines and oppression, religious oppression, persecution, all this kind of shit. They're like escaping. They died on the way over. It was like not where they wanted to fucking go. They were fucking pushed there. Who do we know that uses fucking like plague and famine and economic situations and religious persecution to control populations and push them around? Oh, I don't know. The fucking psychopath class all throughout history. So why did white people come to the why did they come here? Don't fucking tell me that they're not native and that they don't fucking belong there. They didn't have any fucking place to go. Neither did fucking anybody else. All of us are in this bullshit together. It's so fucked to pretend like you're fucking special. Fuck. Letting it out. It's been on my fucking mind. I know there's a lot of people who will be like, thank God someone said it, so you're welcome. And all the people who are like, she's fucking racist. Go fuck yourself. But just think back. Like, who in Europe was fucking oppressed by the psychopath class? Everybody. Who was murdered? Everybody. Who was raped? Everybody. Who was fucking famined? Everybody. Who has the psychopath controlled? Everybody. We are all in it. Fucking, I hate we're all in it together now, but we are actually all in it together, just in very different ways than they fucking tell us. We're all native. We're all from here, and we're all have been fucked over so many thousands of years that very few people are left on their fucking traditional native lands and with their traditional native traditions. All of it's been attacked because we're weaker that way. So we need to get the fuck over it and start holding each other up instead of cutting each other down. And this bullshit. Oh, it's so racist to have like the fucking Redskins logo. Again, it's another thing I told my students, like, yeah, I bet you guys are pretty sick of being like a fucking logo on a mascot or whatever. And they were like, what? And I was like, you know, like Redskins and shit. And they're like, no, we love that. I'm like, you do? And they're like, yeah, that's like, we're fucking warriors. Like, that's our fucking team. Like, fuck yeah. They're like honoring our culture and our power and our ability to like fucking destroy and slay. And I was like, fuck. Like, who the fuck am I to like come in and, again, like, I have this native culture and history to some extent, but I didn't grow up in it. I was very detached. My father was adopted by a white family and never even found his birth family. And it's a terrible, horrible, sad story, and another thing that happens to many native people. And so I didn't have that, you know, I just had like the white training to be guilty and to go in and like deal with it in this PC way. And like, it was almost 100% of them were like, yeah, we fucking love the Redskins and it's not racist. And I'm like, who is saying it's racist? Mostly fucking white people. Mostly fucking white people. And there's some native people who hate it and think it's racist. Absolutely. There's always going to be some people who think anything in any fucking group of people anywhere, anytime. Obviously. But do the majority? Again, did anybody fucking poll everybody? Who fucking decided that all natives hated this? It's fucking stupid. God, I don't know if I'm able to fucking handle this. This pisses me off more than anything. Unattributed quote. Christian leaders stand on our soil and claim gay marriage has never occurred here. I would like to see when that happened. I would like a quote or a reference that says that Christian leaders said that gay marriage never happened on the North American continent in native communities. I doubt that it ever happened. Over 130 tribes in every region of North America performed millions of same-sex marriages for hundreds of years. Again, just any evidence of that would be very... What are the 130 tribes? List them for me. Then even just take maybe 20 of them and give me some piece of evidence that same-sex marriages happened. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying I know. I'm saying I was at this reservation for a year. Only a year. While I was there, I was very lucky. They had been one of the very few native tribes that had access to almost a Pompeii-like mudslide that allowed them to uncover cultural artifacts and relics that were incredibly telling of what actually happened. The reason this is so rare is because most shit has been destroyed. If you find stuff, it's very little. There's not much of it. It doesn't tell you a whole lot. They were able to do this and get so many of their rights back. It was really cool because they could prove that a lot of these things happened. Fishing things and all sorts of stuff. So this was a big deal, and it was very rare. So I got to understand how rare it is and how big of a deal that is when you have any of your culture left. Then I learned not only that, but their language was almost dead. They had very few people who spoke it, and they didn't have a full, what you would call fluent grasp on even their own language. So the very little bits of their language they had left, they tried to do their best. They had linguists come in, and they reconstructed to the best of their ability. So you tell me, would that culture know how many gay marriages they performed over hundreds of years? It's not very likely. It's not very likely. Maybe they did. Maybe there really are people who do. Maybe they don't. Who's even saying this? There's never a quote. There's never a person who will actually like stand and say, I for sure know that in my tribe, we definitely did this, and here's my evidence of why. And again, I don't care if they did or not. I have no attachment to whether this happened or not. I'm trying to point out any logical inconsistencies I can because I like to think. Their statements are both hateful and ignorant. Your homosexual was our two-spirit people. As far as my research shows, there is no evidence of any tribe ever having the term two-spirit ever in relation to gay or homosexual relationships in any document or any fucking way, any recording, any evidence until like 19 fucking 70 or 80 or something. It's pretty fucking late. So is that a real part of your culture, or is it something you think would be nice to say? I'm not sure. I would love evidence. Please prove me like wrong. Please prove to me that this actually happened. Here's something that claims that they have evidence. You tell me, is this evidence? They're like, well, I don't know. In the 90s, a lot of Native Americans were really homophobic, and I was really upset about that. And so I wanted to find evidence that there was like homosexual Native Americans before modern day or whatever. And then they're like, here's one. Okay, so I have a picture of two people sitting next to each other, and I'm supposed to pretend that I now understand that this is a gay couple. I don't even know if this is photoshopped or not, let alone if that's a gay couple. I don't know. This looks like a woman and a man to me. Like, I'm supposed to pretend that I think that that's a gay couple? I don't know why this would be evidence. And then they just tell a story. They're like, see, this person was named this, and they killed a lot of people and were gay. I'm like, it's possible. I don't know why this would be considered evidence by anyone except that these two humans sat for this picture at some time, perhaps, if this isn't photoshopped. They're like, here's another person. See? Look, it's a man wearing a dress. Again, is that it? I don't know. Is it a man? Why would I know that? It's a black and white picture that's not super clear, and I'm not sure what it is. Also, who is that? Who's to say it's not even a fucking white person dressed up in some way, or like someone made to take this picture for some fucking reason? I don't know. I have no context. I'm supposed to take that as evidence. We could go through this over and over. It's just stories and a picture that I'm supposed to take as fact. And this is like the closest I've ever come to quote unquote evidence that for sure Native cultures ubiquitously, 100% of them, loved the Two-Spirit and performed gay marriage ceremonies. That's a huge leap to take. But watch someone call me homophobic now just for asking a fucking question that I would like some evidence for this claim that has never once in any way been corroborated at all. And beyond this bullshit where people are like, oh, the Native Americans had the Two-Spirit people, so you guys are all fucking homophobes. I'm like, listen to yourself. The Native Americans did? All the fucking hundreds, thousands of tribes, 100% of them did? All of them had this? That'd be amazing, because there's nothing else that all of them had. So that is the thing? They all did that together? Wow, that's incredible. Please, by all means, support your fucking claim. In addition to that bit of bullshit, and this is all up in the New Age, right? The New Age loves this shit. New Age communities are like, oh yeah, the New Age and the natives thought this. I'm like, all of them? All the natives thought that? You sound like a fucking idiot. Like, you sound like the most ignorant fuck. Who talks like that? Would you replace that with any other fucking group of people and listen to how stupid you sound? Oh, the British people, like, they all really love marmalade. You go, what? Like, listen to how stupid you sound. They all do? What are you fucking talking about? At least say something like, from my understanding, many tribes might have supported gay people. Or something. Like, stop being a fucking idiot. And this bullshit where people are like, oh, well, natives like lived in peace and like harmony, and they were like really fucking like good people, and then white people came in and just ruined them. I'm like, God damn it. Like, how stupid do you have to be to think that a super diverse set of fucking people all acted like anything, let alone to pretend like they were just like superhuman moral fucking saints? Like, what is wrong with you? Native Americans had slaves. They had black slaves even. They had slaves from other tribes. They practiced warfare. They fucking scalped each other. They did all kinds of shit. You're gonna tell me like none of them raped people? So fuck you. Yes, they did. That's what war includes. Like, of every culture we've ever studied. All warfare, scalping, torture, cannibalism. Native people did that. You don't hear New Age people being like, oh, well, the natives ate each other, and so we should fucking eat each other. Like, because you sound like an idiot, and then it's really clear how stupid you are when you talk like that. I fucking hate it. I hate how much people are like, all natives are beautiful, wonderful people. This is how you get people like that fucking stupid-ass drummer guy. Remember? So fucking dumb. Nick, what's his fucking name? The red hat guy? I bet it'll come up. This motherfucker. This fucking thing. This is how you get this fucking thing to work, is you have people that stupid who can look at literally anyone who looks native to them at all and be like, that person's a saint, period. Because all natives are. All of them lived in perfect peace, and they were wonderful people who loved gay people, and they would never, no native person has ever done anything wrong, and this guy was just drumming in this white kid's face, and that's fantastic. That's how you get idiots who buy this fucking story and never look back. This guy was shown to have been hired to do that. He's a piece of shit by all accounts. Fucking whatever, I don't know him, he could be a lovely human, but in any case, he was hired to go up into this kid's face, take this vaguely native looking set of paraphernalia, and just fucking drum right in his face. No provocation at all. And people were like, that kid's a racist! I'm like, what? How are you this dumb? Like, literally what happened to your fucking brain that you can look at this and take that away? You don't know this guy, you don't know that kid, but you know for sure that this native man is a saint and that kid's a racist. Who's the fucking racist now? You looked at skin tone alone and you decided all of that. You're a fucking racist. Fuck you. I can't fucking take it. Oh, natives are just like that. Like, fuck. Oh, God, do you like these people? I can't take them. I can't fucking handle them. You're an idiot. This bullshit. People lived in harmony with nature. We didn't need chemicals and poisons. We didn't need to alter genetics. We just were love. Look, the bears were happy and we floated through life just in perfect bliss. We go back to that fucking image. 100% of people did. 100% of people lived in what you would call balance with nature. Did they do it because they were moral fucking saints? Or did they do it because they were small enough groups of people that there was no other option but to live in balance with nature? You lived in balance with nature or you died. Even if you got excessive in your fucking gluttony, you couldn't undo nature because you're just a little group of people. Even if you're a pretty big group of people, if you're still living in this way, like you're living in that way, not because you're morally fucking committed to it, but because it's what the stage of development you're at. It's where you're at. You can't tell me, and you can't. You can look at the fucking evidence of what happened, and you can see, like, when people, generally speaking, are given the opportunity to create new technologies and things, they do so. Hammers, bows, fucking clothing. That's technology. People do it. They find fucking metal and they realize they can bend it into shapes. Well, now we start making fucking other tools. You find other shapes. Oh, this burns easily. Well, now you start making other tools. There aren't people who don't, in general, do that. Right? So this fucking myth is so stupid. All native people lived in balance with... They did. They did because that was all that was going on. Not because they had made the decision. No one came up and offered them, like, jet planes and fucking space travel, and they were like, no, we live in balance. No, this is just where they were at. It's just what they were doing. It's stupid. And again, if you're going to be that stupid to pretend like that was like a noble choice that was made, then at least apply it to the whole fucking world, because everybody made that same noble choice. Every single fucking person. Until they didn't. Oops. So just try to be done with this bullshit. If you hear people spouting this bullshit, try to just ask a question and be like, oh, do you know of any native cultures that didn't fucking, I don't know, like, take the opportunity to make bows and arrows when they got the chance or whatever? Did you ever, like, fucking find a tribe that, like, didn't ever kill anyone else or rape anyone else or murder anyone else or scalp them or eat them? No? Shut the fuck up. This thing is stupid too, where people, because of a fucking label, because of their fucking identity, because of the way that our modern world has commodified identities and fetishized fucking cultures, Indigenous American spirituality and ecos. Okay, there's nothing wrong with this. This person is literally just writing about Indigenous American spirituality and ecos. But if you read this, it's actually a very well done article. It's cool. But if you read this and you read about, like, cosmic visions of indigenous people and, like, what was holy and how they conceived of the holiness and the balance in life and what fucking the Great Spirit was like and all of these things, almost all of it is universal in every culture you could ever look at, especially those that you can find that are still intact from their traditional roots. All of it. There's nothing that's different. So when people are like, oh, but like Native Americans like understood, every peoples did. Every one of them. All of them. They all did. They all had aspects of this. They all had versions of this. We talk about it on Middle Path every week. We're like, look at all the ways this exact same principle is everywhere in the world, every culture in the world. Okay, not literally every culture, probably. I can't actually make that claim. Vast majority of the ones that I've ever encountered have all of the same elements. All of the fucking exact same elements. So again, super good article, rad. But don't pretend like it's just Indigenous Americans. This person's not, this author's not, but people generally do. Pretend like Native Americans have this like market cornered. Like they're the ones who have fucking spirituality down. They really get it. Fucking everyone does. It's exactly the same. And people are like, I can't fucking deal with it. People are like, well, school never taught me about it though. School never taught me about Native oppression. I had this motherfucker. This is so fucking stupid. I had this motherfucker. In my town, we all went to school basically from kindergarten to graduation, like high school graduation. We were there the whole time, most of us. Some people came and went, but for the most part, we were all the same exact group of people, all 12 years. So I know these fucking people, and I also know exactly what they learned because I was there, and I learned it too. And I had motherfuckers I went to school with doing the same exact bullshit. School never taught me about Native American oppression. Bitch, I was there. We did it like 10 different times. Yes, they fucking did. Okay, but they didn't tell me that, no, fuck off. I am so sick of this bullshit. What did school fucking teach you? So much that you don't even remember. What the fuck did school teach you? Like, so much that you never even paid attention to in the moment. So how could you have learned it? And now you're going to pretend like school didn't fucking teach you. I don't pretend school is great. It's a fucking brainwashing, just like indoctrinating pile of shit. But to pretend like school should have understood 100% of what you would need 20 years in the future and just give it to you all and make sure you were there every day and make sure you were listening and make sure you actually, that's impossible. It's stupid. School never taught me that Black Lives Matter. Dude, I fucking was there. We fucking learned about civil rights and shit. We learned about Martin Luther King and shit. We did it every year. Every fucking year. Yes, they did teach you that. Oh, well, they didn't teach you. Maybe they didn't teach you the propaganda you fucking went and got in college. Maybe they didn't teach you to ignore whole entire swaths of context and data in order to, like, reaffirm your very narrow bias. I don't know, but they did fucking tell you. And maybe there's some people where genuinely their schools never once brought up black civil rights or black rights or anything. Maybe there really are schools in our country that never once brought up that, yeah, Native Americans were put on reservations and shit got fucked and things were bad. Like, maybe that exists. I would love to be proven, just anyone, just like show me proof that there is a school that exists that never once fucking teaches these fucking things. Everyone needs to shut the fuck up. Yeah, your school did fucking teach you this. It fucking did. Very, very highly unlikely that it didn't. I would love to be proved. Please show me the schools. And this, what? How many fucking corporations have these giant Black Lives Matter? It was all over our we'd like log into anything and it'd just be like Black Lives Matter. I'm like, I didn't ask you what your political fucking movement was. I wanted to play a fucking game. Like, what the fuck? Nike, fucking Starbucks, like everybody was like Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. When the whole world, every corporation, all of the government, fucking every fucking community organization is spouting your fucking mantra, you're not the fucking oppressed minority you think you are. Sorry, not sorry. Gotta ask some fucking questions here. Why is the entire fucking world behind you? I don't know. Maybe it's because, like, you're fucking part of their agenda. Maybe it's because the psychopath class is fucking using you. And it's the exact same with fucking everything is gay watch now. Everything. Everybody's gay. I love that meme that's like, it's like during Pride Month, all corporations and all businesses are like, we're fucking gay now. Like, yeah, that's what it's like. So you don't have any problem just being fucking used for your identity? You labeled yourself this. You fucking put yourself in that box. You decided the most important thing about you was like whose genitalia you put your genitalia next to, right? You decided that that was the most fucking important thing about you, and now every fucking corporation you can think of is just gaying it up and you're oppressed? Dude, I could go on right now. I've seen it. There's fucking YouTube shows where there's literally like a guy with a screen and some other guy is sticking things into his ass and they're trying to decide what's in his ass. You can do that, but I can't talk to you about actual doctors, actual research scientifically about certain experimental medications. And you're going to tell me you're oppressed. I bet gay people and black lives are super oppressed right now. I'm not saying there's not bad shit. Some gay people are experiencing really severe oppression, and there's fucking homophobes and there's fucking racist people, and both groups of people have had like murders and oppression in various levels because of that identity. I'm not saying that's not true. I'm saying it's long past the time where this was like something that was systemic or overwhelming, and by every single metric you can find, it's been getting better for decades. Better every year. But now we're supposed to all crawl around on the ground and grovel if we're not gay or we're not black or we're not native or we're not like sad enough or like groveling enough or what the fuck ever, and pretend like this is all that fucking matters, and pretend like oppression means every PowerPoint in society is behind you. Yeah, suddenly that's the definition of oppression. Okay. And this is what happens when you let the media fucking determine for you what is right and wrong without thinking, is they start telling you that you should probably start fucking horses. This is an actual fucking article. The real point of the article is to say that dirty meat eaters are dirty meat eaters, and you should go fucking stop eating meat because eating meat is like fucking a horse. But on the subtext of it, we're being told that it's probably actually cool to fuck animals because why not? Like, what the fuck? The media is going to tell you what the fuck to be, and you're going to bend over and just fucking go along with it instead of asking fucking questions. Again, who's oppressed? If I can't ask questions or talk about something, who's oppressed? You can go around and, like, fuck people on air, and that's great. Who's fucking oppressed? Who's fucking being controlled by the psychopath class? Well, the answer is any fucking person who paints this fucking target on themselves, and the target is any fucking identity that you attach to. You just say, like, yes, it's true that I have European heritage. I do. I'm white. And it's true that I have Native American from many continents, actually, and that's true, too. You can describe it. Cool. But when you're like, that's what I am. I am white. I am gay. That's who I am, and I'm that. And the media's like, oh, well, then did you know you're really special this month? Oh, but next month we're going to talk about how bad you have it and how oppressed you are. And, like, we're going to just fuck with you. We're going to fucking move you around because you put yourself in the little fucking box. You made that box for us, and we're going to move you around our little chessboard. You fucking put yourself there. You did that to yourself. You're so attached to it that now anybody can say anything. You've been told what your box contains, right? Your box contains oppression, repression, and tears, and fucking horror, and that's it. You're just an oppressed piece of shit in this box. That's all you are. And now anybody who comes along and does anything that doesn't fit with what you've been told is in your box, now you get to spew your emotion at them. It's so much easier. It's so much easier than being healed or thinking. It's so much easier than doing research or understanding. So much easier than talking to people to try to figure out what do they mean actually. I'm not sure. Let me find out. It's so much easier to just hold up your little prison fucking target and be like, I'm in my fucking box and you're bad. And my media told me you're bad. I'm gonna put on a shirt for this month because media told me it's good. I had a fucking person like post a fucking picture of like them in a shirt that's like, I'm an ally. And I'm like, dude, fuck off. When did you become an ally? Just now? Just this month? How fucking convenient for you. If you were fucking gay, thought I was gay once, and when I thought I was gay, that would be so fucking offensive. Like, you just decided this month you're my ally? You never gave a fuck, you didn't talk to me about whatever I might have experienced, but now you're my fucking ally? Why wouldn't that bother you? Why wouldn't that piss you off? You're being moved around your little chessboard, and bunches of people who don't know you are pretending like they fucking do because of the category you put yourself in. That's offensive as fuck. But again, you reduced yourself to that. You put yourself in that fucking box. You gave yourself that label and you attached to it. You don't have to be attached to any of those fucking labels. You say descriptively, I have female genitalia. I'm not too attached to what other people put onto the label of woman. I don't really actually give a fuck what anyone says about women because I have my own understanding of it. It doesn't come from you. It's not reflected by you. It's not created by you. I actually did it myself because what I really am is far beyond any label could destroy, and it contains 10 billion things, nuanced things that are very subjective, and no one could possibly know them all. People I've spent fucking years knowing wouldn't even know them all. So how the fuck could you put this fucking label on me and pretend you're my goddamn ally? So fucking limiting. And who can talk about it, right? I might get fucking, like, I don't know, taken off YouTube, or I'm sure there's stupid fucking idiots who are going to pretend that I'm racist or fucking sexist or homophobic or some stupid bullshit because they're too stupid to think. Because I'm not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to talk about it. You're allowed to say that gay people are oppressed. You're allowed to say that Native people are oppressed. You're allowed to say that Native women are the worst off of any category of human on the planet. Poor them. You're allowed to say that mass graves are brand new atrocity and we should all only be talking about that. We should be just fucking furious. We should just pour emotion out, and we should just keep pouring emotion out until what? What's your plan? Do you have a plan? Or do you just want everyone to be really emotional? That seems like a pretty fucking stupid plan. Right? It's fucking retarded. Or like what can't you talk about? What can you talk about? Well, you can talk about how horrible white people are. You can talk about how horrible Christianity is. And that's about it. Right? I wrote this article, Fuck Christianity, because all I could see everywhere around me was all these, and I don't fucking care if you like Christianity or not. We can criticize it. We can actually criticize any religion. All of them have made horrible, they've been used for the psychopath class's horrendous fucking chessboard moves for thousands of years. All of them. So yes, Christianity has done horrible things in the name of Christianity. But why right now can you only fucking fuck Christianity? You cannot talk about fucking Islam and how horrible it is, because now you're a racist. You cannot talk about fucking Hinduism and how horrible it is, because you're right. You can't talk about Buddhism. Buddhism has some dark ass shit. You can't talk about it, though, because you're a fucking racist. But you can absolutely just slander Christianity. You can just go on and on how bad Christianity is. You can put Jesus in a fucking, like, trans, whatever, gay role, and that's great. But if you draw Muhammad, fuck you, you racist. Why? 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 Because what culture is being focused on the most right now? What culture is the last culture left that needs to be completely destroyed because it has some power still and it's somewhat resisting the forward momentum of the globalist fucking psychopath class? Which fucking continent and set of cultures? Oh, ours. Well, unfortunately, when all the Native Americans got so fucked, what was the dominant culture here? White, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, perhaps, whatever, basically white, basically Christian. So who needs to be attacked? White Christians. You're allowed to do that. You can do that all the fuck you want. Who cares if that's their identity? Fuck them. They should die, right? Look at all the fucking horror they've done in the world. Again, who did the actual horror? Not fucking regular white people. Not fucking regular white people. The psychopath class. Not fucking Christianity, but the psychopath's class use of Christianity. Just like any religion. Like, you have to fucking see through this shit. It's fucking retarded. And again, if you're like screeching at random people on the internet about like how they're not fucking enough of some identity or another for you, or they're not allowed to talk about some identity because of their perceived identity that you've decided they have or some bullshit, it's just like, calm the fuck down and stop being so fucking emotional and reactive that you can't fucking think and have conversations with people. If you can't fucking talk about it, then stop fucking talking and shut up. And again, what are you actually doing here? What are we fucking doing here? Are we like just doing here on this planet, just emotion spewing and that's it? That's all we have to do? So we can like know of the atrocities, that we can know about mass graves and of children, and as long as we cry hard enough, we've done our job as human beings. As long as we say on the internet somewhere that we think it's really bad that children were killed in graves, like who doesn't think that? Are there any fucking people who think it's neat that massive amounts of kids were killed? Nobody does. This is like the George Floyd thing, but like like obviously way more murder. But like, who thought it was cool that George Floyd? Nobody. Like maybe like 10 people out of 10,000 were like, yeah, fuck that guy, kill him. Nobody thought that. Nobody thinks it's cool to kill Native kids. Like, what are we actually doing, though? So, okay, if you've decided that, like, your education failed you and now you suddenly realize that Native people were hurt badly and, like, which would be fucking ridiculous, but I guess that's what some people are pretending. And, like, now what? So now if you go around to enough people online and make them feel bad about it or, like, lord your identity over them enough, like, now it's okay? Was that your plan? Or do you have one? Or do you actually care? Or are you just taking this as a convenient way to spew your emotion that you've never healed so that you can not actually look at it or take responsibility for it and feel really vindicated in it, whatever it was, wherever it came from? Or else do something, right? Or else fucking do something. And what are you going to do? I don't care. I don't care what it is. It's often really cool when people decide to do political actions and try to get something done. Like, that's rad. But don't fucking pretend like if you go, like, virtue signal enough online, like, that's somehow fucking making up for or doing anything about it. Like, I don't get what people think they're doing. Well, you're not Native. Like, fucking idiots. I love this. I was like, because it was like, what's your trap identity? Which is clearly like a sick, stupid musical thing. Sorry, not sorry. But seriously, what is your trap identity? Because whatever identity you've attached yourself to and decided, like, oh, I'm a hip hop fucking, like, Mexican Christian. Like, well, okay, now we have 3 traps for you. You've nicely put yourself into 3 traps. You know, again, describe yourself like, yeah, I have some Christian, like, history or traditions or whatever, and some of my family comes from here and there, but don't fucking make it your thing. Don't make it like that's who you are. That's not who you are. It's a thing that tends to be true about you or can describe, like, conglomerate fucking aspects of your life pushed together in a hump if you needed to do that for some reason, which honestly most of the time isn't necessary. I had someone come to me. I made, like, a status and I picked a fucking, you know, they have, like, the gay and the trans flag or whatever as, like, status backgrounds on that shitty fucking platform that's a piece of fucking filth called Fuckbook on there. And so the background was trans flag and I was saying something and someone's like, do you realize this is the trans flag, right? And I'm like, yeah. Is there, like, a point to what you're saying right now? Like, well, I'm gay and I fought for gay rights and I'm offended that you use that. Like, what? What? Because Facebook gave me the option of using this fucking flag and I fucking chose to use it, I should somehow be ashamed or give a shit that you let that offend you because of the identity box you put yourself in? None of that makes any sense. And if you're that easily offended by, like, an image somewhere, you probably shouldn't be online. Like, take fucking control of yourself. Take some fucking responsibility for yourself. I wasn't in any way shitting on anybody. I was actually describing what a shitty platform Facebook is. It's so fucking stupid. So yeah, if you've put yourself in a little fucking box and you've decided this is who you are and it's very important, it's one of the most important things about you that people know that you've put yourself in this box, well, you're the one trapping your fucking self, playing exactly right into the fucking psychopath class's entire fucking game. Their entire game depends on you doing that and feeling passionately about it, but also being a big enough piece of shit to take all your undealt with emotional, we've all been brutalized and traumatized, you're not fucking special, no matter what fucking color, class, anything. Every single person. So shut the fuck up and stop pretending like you're special. You're gonna fucking take all of that and just spew it at people. Well, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. You go take care of your fucking self. I will happily help you if you're serious about fucking helping yourself, but don't fucking spew your shit on people and pretend like that's noble or brave or fucking virtuous. God damn it. It's like we're all just little fucking toddlers and people are just like buttons are just pressed and the toddler just starts screeching and that's supposed to be like amazing. Like, oh, brave. This brave baby shit itself and screeched like you fucking idiot. So here I am reacting emotionally. No, but I actually put a lot of thought into responding to all of this because I kept getting this over and over again lately because people kept bringing up like, oh, the church and the white man has fucked the native fucking people for too long and it's been enough. And I'm like, this type of rhetoric, I can't. You have to stop and ask yourself, why now and why this? You can't. I'm not going to let you just fucking especially come into my group and just try to whip people into an emotional frenzy over some shit. Like, tell me why you think this is happening right now. What level of black magic is happening? That's all they're ever doing on their little fucking media. That's what it is. It's black magic. So if the whole fucking media is doing it, why? What level, what intent of black magic is going on right now? And if you can't ask yourself that question and think, and all you can do is emotionally react, please go away. Please go take care of yourself until you can come back and interact in civil society, right? You have a fucking responsibility to take care of yourself. I get it. We all get emotional. Like the first few times this was happening to me because of all of this shit that's coming up, and the first few times people were like, yo, I'm a native though. I'm like, fucking rip your goddamn throat. I wish you would say that to my fucking face in real life. I fucking wish you would. But you're a fucking coward bitch, and you've never asked a goddamn question in your life. So you have no fucking clue who I am, so you're just gonna spew this shit. Like, yeah, I got pretty emotional, so I didn't react, and instead I took like a week to sit here on it until I could come. And all of my fucking anger is transformed into action instead, and sharing this perspective. And hopefully some people have at least thought, which identities have I claimed for myself? Even truther is an identity that you have to be careful of. We've talked about this so many times. They're all levels of groupthink. You put yourself in the fucking box. Now they can move your box easily around their fucking little screen. Now they can control you, and you fucking let it happen. You have control over that. You don't describe, but don't identify, right? Or whatever. Identify, but don't make it like, this is who I am, and it's the only thing that's important about me. And now I have to go along with any group that claims my identity for me. You know? And it's the same like we were talking about, like, which natives don't like the Redskins? Which ones am I supposed to agree with, right? Listen to native people. Like, which ones? The ones who like the Redskins or the ones who don't? Right? Like, what are you fucking saying? There is no ubiquity in any group, so don't pretend, right? And this is the danger of this fucking identity game. It's a danger of the fucking groupthink game. It's a danger of any time you've decided, this is who I am. I love Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. I love the 4 agreements. I love the 5th agreement. It's beautiful. It's awesome. And he says, every time you react emotionally, instead of respond consciously, ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What are you so terrified of that I'm asking a fucking question? Why are you so fearful because I ask you? I wonder why now. I wonder what black magic is going on. I wonder why they're shifting yet again to another race and another group of people. Again, they've known about these fucking graves. They're the ones who fucking made the fucking graves. They weren't confused about where they were or how many kids might be in them. No, the only people who were in the fucking sleep mode about that was the culture in general. And so they dropped it in, and now everyone's like, "Rah!" And they're like, word, that fucking worked like a charm. Look at all these communities breaking down, all these people fucking bickering over shit, when really all of those motherfuckers are under our control. All of them are being fucked. But we don't have to fucking deal with that or worry about it, because they're just going to fight each other some more. None of this was a secret. None of it's old. Books have been written forever. Decades and decades have gone into fucking talking about it, dealing with it, fucking talking about it and dealing with it, talking about it and dealing with it over and over and over and over and over a fucking again. And it doesn't make it less repulsive or horrifying or just fucking sickening. But you have to ask yourself, why? And then you have to take back your fucking power and say, I am not my fucking random identity. I'm not this just clump of labels, right? What the fuck are you actually? Well, you're a fucking human goddamn being, just like all the other human beings on the fucking planet. You are a fucking oppressed and controlled part of this slave system, just like every other fucking person on the planet. And they don't give a fuck what color you are. And they don't give a fuck what your stupid fucking religion is. They don't fucking care. You put any label on it as you want. Well, I'm a Christian. Nobody fucking cares. I mean, I care. But, like, they don't fucking care. And that's not a reason to fucking divide yourself. And it's not a reason to pretend like you're a fucking special oppression games. Like, this fucking drives me insane. People are like, oh, well, you don't understand what it's like. Bitch, nobody understands what anybody's life is like. Nobody fucking understands what anybody's life is like, who the fuck do you know that hasn't been oppressed? Who the fuck do you know that's had a fucking easy ass life? Who the fuck do you know that doesn't experience some level of unfair treatment because of things they can't change about themselves? I have never met a single fucking person. I hate this fucking Olympics game people play. Like, yeah, well, I'm like this kind of oppressed. Fucking woo. Like, what? Who cares? You're still playing this stupid game. You're like literally their fucking pawn. You did that. You're the only one who fucking can give them that power. You're the only one who can take it back. Stop playing this stupid fucking game. Oh, well, you're not in that community and you don't know. Yeah, and you're not in mine and you don't fucking know. Why is this is a stupid game. What are you even fucking pretending? You're living fucking delusion land. And you fucking bought it. They told you. They're like, look, you're so oppressed. You're so special. You should be so emotional. We'll let you fucking like just rip all this shit apart and fucking cause all this fucking chaos, or like come fucking play your special role on TV for the month or whatever the fuck. Oh, look at you. You're so special. You're not fucking special. Dude, they're using you. They're fucking using you and you're fucking letting them. That's what's more sick. Is you're like, it feels so good to just be like noticed at all. This is fucking sick. Like, yeah, we are all actually deserve a lot more attention, a lot more love, and a lot more fucking support and encouragement. All these things that none of us have had enough of. It's fucking horrible. I wish we could all, but we fucking don't. We just don't have it, and you have to fucking heal it, and you have to fucking get over it. Nobody's ever going to be able to give you that shit that you never had enough of. And fucking somebody just telling you like, look, you're special now is like not actually what you're looking for. You're just like latched onto it because I'm that identity and I fit in that box and now I get my special moment. Everybody look at me. Everybody look at me. I'm this label. I hated it. I hate it when people were like, oh, well, I have like ADHD, so I can't do that. No, fuck you. I have fucking ADHD and I fucking do that. It's harder maybe for you? So what? It's fucking everybody has different levels of hardship in every fucking aspect of life. You're not fucking special. Get the fuck over it. Get the fuck over it. See, this is why someone just called me the other day. They're like, oh, I don't know if you're going to be like love and light enough or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck? Why do people think I'm love and light? I have enough of these rants where I fucking talk shit the entire episode. Thank you for letting me get it out. Anyways, I think it is love and light though. You know, people need boundaries. I've told this story before and it's not that big of a deal, but it's the same thing in principle, right? So I was sitting around for a long time and I was like, poor me. I'm ugly and fat and stupid. I grew up poor. I'm like oppressed and like all these like hard things have happened in my life. Poor me. And finally, my very good friend, my bestest friend, just like got to this moment I'm at now with all this bullshit. She was like, Jesus Christ, Lindsay, just fucking shut up or do something about it. I'm not gonna fucking listen to you just talk about this anymore. I was like, oh, am I like really, is there something I'm supposed to be doing? Should I be doing something about all of this? And I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I can do something about all of this. Every single complaint I have, I can fucking do something about it. And then I started doing things about it and I've never stopped. That fucking changed my life. So it is actually very loving. It's actually very full of light to hold up fucking mirrors for people and be like, God damn it, look at yourself, you fuck. Like, so I don't actually even feel like this isn't love and light, but it's probably not the brand of love and light a lot of people were expecting or have expected, but I love it too. Guarantee you there's gonna be one motherfucker who's like, oh, you've changed. Like, no, actually you just didn't know me very well. So again, if you're some asshole who's like really offended by whatever, then go fuck yourself. Nobody cares. But if you have something constructive to say, absolutely share your ideas and the different takes you have than what I've said, and especially any evidence you have that goes against anything that I've seemed to say is some kind of a fact or whatever. And I would love that. That's great. But if you're just going to be like, I don't like it, like, well, go fuck yourself. And in the end, we'll all go fuck ourselves. No. Thank you so much, Jenny B, for the tip. I really appreciate it. Again, I'm very grateful. I'm very lucky to have you all as a community. I'm very lucky to be surrounded by people who do still think. I hope it's very obvious to all of you out there listening that if you are listening to this, I'm definitely not calling you the idiot. I'm calling people idiots who are going along with all this programming. happily going along with it and not trying to point out the cage as people are like shaking against it and painting their like target on themselves. So you all bring so much love and joy and balance to my life, and I appreciate it so much just for being here and for being you. But I especially appreciate people who support the show in whatever way they can, whether it's by being in locals, super cool community anyway, $2 a month or less or more, I mean, if you want to support it more, or who grab a tarot reading, or who grab a session of some kind, or books, or so much new Orgonite that's so beautiful and so powerful. I just like, I think it was I guess it was this week. I don't have a very good grasp on time. But for 3 nights in a row, I was like being told how to make very specific Orgonite. Anyway, if you are into the types of work you've seen me do before, especially spiritually, you will really like this Orgonite, and you may want a piece. So go check it out on the site, rogueways.org, if you would like to see what's up there. There's some plaques too, which are a little bit bigger and thicker, and just pack a little bit more punch. And there's crystal necklaces, and there's all kinds of things. So I'm very grateful for all of you who find ways to support. And even if you can't, who cares? I'm not judging anyone. Obviously, a lot of people can't. But if you can, please do. And if you can't, and you take the time to tell me that you hate that I take the time to give honor to those who do support me, or ask for those who haven't yet supported me to support me, and you bitch about it as though I'm never supposed to make money or whatever, go fuck yourself. You guessed it. Like, I don't know why you would take the time to even say it. If you hate it that much, just go away. No one will even know you were ever here. It won't matter. But I love it. What? Snake Jones put his Orgonite, I don't know if it's mine or someone else's, in a glass jar in the freezer, and it exploded. I wonder what your interpretation of that is. I wonder if that happens to all Orgonite. Slick Dissident is asking, can anyone else get behind the idea that the decades of hearing the term news coverage was pre-programming for the grand shame spell of face masks? News coverage. I'm not against it. That's a very interesting take. I like it. Sorry I didn't catch up with the chat as much as I like to, but I'll just say what's up to 7-Eleven Lucas, Love in the Midst, Shakim Bush, Annabelle B. And if I missed you, I'm sorry. Lizzie Fizzy, what's up? Trap a Skunk in the house. John Coleman in the house. Oh, right. The rainbow prophecy is interesting too. John Coleman just brought up, where people are like, oh, there will come a time when there's all this and the tribes will come together. It's awesome, and it's also true, right? We are all coming together. So I hope that is more and more true. I hope that we have less and less attachment to our identities and our oppressions, our specific oppressions of our specific identities that we have to hold on to and fucking make everybody worship for the rest of time. I hope we can let go of that enough to fulfill the rainbow prophecy. Distraction for the pole shift and solar flare, says Conrad. Maybe. It's a distraction from anything though, right? We can't. This is the other thing about all this shit. If we're constantly bickering about this, we're constantly fucking having to talk to each other about it, and we're constantly, no, you can't say Indian, you're saying Native American, you can't like the Redskins, it's racist. Like, said who? Like, fuck off. If we have to constantly deal with shit like that, then we'll be distracted from everything. That's the whole fucking point. We will hate each other, never talk again, and then also not pay attention to what's going on. It's like a triple whammy win. And we just rip apart more and more of our communities. But Zune Politicon, nice to see you. I know you just moved. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, I guess now they're focusing on the Florida Tower collapse. It's an interesting collapse. Like I said, if it's weird that anyone's talking about the like structural integrity of these places, this condo especially, you know, they're like, well, there was a report and nobody paid attention. I'm like, yeah, but wasn't it a sinkhole? And if it was a sinkhole, what would it matter how much integrity the structure had? Maybe I'm ridiculous. Maybe it absolutely would matter, but I've seen sinkholes swallow entire buildings. So I don't know if you can really have enough structural integrity to not get swallowed when the ground literally just opens up beneath you. So there's that. And then, you know, so what I would ask then, the only thing I would be that interested in is, can they create sinkholes and trigger them at will? Which I would say probably. there's a lot of evidence that they could. That would be what I would be interested in. What's up, Gray Knight? All right. Soundwave Promotions, nice to see you. Yeah, let's not label ourselves. And remember, you can describe yourself all you want. Just don't get super attached to the label, especially so much that you just automatically go along with any programming because you tell yourself that that is you and you belong there. David Gerald's in the house. Nice to see you. Randy and Courtney are in the house. Nice to see you. Hopefully I didn't miss anyone. I love you all so much. And honestly, it takes work to look inside and see where you've ingested and internalized these labels and ask yourself, are they necessary? Are they helpful? Are they helping you grow or heal in any way? Are they restricting you in many ways? You know, and all of them can give you some benefits. There can be good things to determining who you are and who you aren't, right? So you can make boundaries and you can decide where you're going and what direction you want to head and what's important to you and all those things. But they can also then take away by telling you things that someone outside source telling you goes along with that label, like you're oppressed, you're rejected, nobody likes you, you're going to get murdered if you go outside, or all these things, and you take that in because you've decided it's your label. So it takes a lot of work to look in and find all those labels and then see like, okay, do I even want to keep this one at all? Is it doing any good for me? Maybe it's not. Just fucking throw it away, right? It takes work. It's hard because we're attached to a lot of these. It takes a lot of self-searching, and it's going to be emotional probably, especially to throw some away and be like, yeah, I'm not going to identify with poverty anymore. That was an old one and doesn't serve me anymore, and I'm going to identify with something else that's more helpful for me, right? Something like that. Or is it one you do want to keep? Which is like, well, no, I actually am Native, and I'm definitely going to keep that label, but I'm also going to recognize that I've made it into a part of my identity and a label, and I'm going to be aware of how that can be used then. I'm going to purposely not just say, because I'm Native, I'm always going to be in this group called Native by anyone who's calling something Native, right? Or etc. It takes work. It takes some emotional awareness. And especially if emotions come up, good, let them out. Let them go. Heal it. Let it fucking flow. Well, you have to look at it, be with it, and let it flow out for it to heal. That's not easier said than done, but you can do it. So I'm very proud of everybody who's out there doing this work. There's so many of us doing this. And maybe when we see other people doing this, we can at least hold up a little mirror. You don't have to throw out as many F-bombs. You don't have to tell people they're fucking idiots, even if they are, and you can try. But when they come back at you with some bullshit, make some fucking boundaries and cut them off, and they can go fuck themselves and drown in their bullshit. But for you can take care of you, and you can continue to get better and better and better. I can continue to get better and better and better. And we're all going to do that. And then we're just great examples for other people who can say, oh, wait, that person's gay and they're not always offended by somebody using a certain color scheme in their post. Maybe I can be too, right? Things like that. You're a good example. Just by being a healthy, beautiful soul who is out in the world interacting, more and more and more people see that and they respond to it and they want it for themselves too, because as much as it's attractive and easy to just call in the victim card and fucking project all the shit and just spew emotion and never heal, it also feels way better. You can be proud and like firm in this like, oh my God, I'm healthy and whole. People want that actually. So the more you do it for yourself, the more you do it for the whole world. It's very, very real. It's very, very real. So make it happen. And until then, travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first. Mwah.
The Bilderbergers called you. And I was like, hello? Hello? Ain't nobody answering shit, man. I mean, for real, man. I must have hung up. Phone rang again. And I was like, hello? Ain't nobody even answering, dog. Some real shit, man. They tapping my telephone.
It's really the real when you step to the plate. And it ain't too late to change your ways of being fake. Humans create with creativity, so make what you create to shine through. All niggas wanna do is shine. Make your view rhyme, but the deaf to the blind. For those left behind, I crept and I climbed to the top of my mind. And I found I've been taught to be conformed, and I was never warned of the signs. Crimes committed as an adolescent, now I'm trapped through the system stressing. With aggression and emotive, through passion and emotion, to set the truth in motion. They gave me Zola for a rainy day, and they gave me Zyprexa to sleep my life away. Society's labeled a man to be bipolar. Might as well gave me heroin and Coca-Cola. This is how Western medicines work. This is also how Western religions work. And Americans work 9 to 5. Not asking the questions of how, when, where, what, and why. I remain on the quest thirsty for salvation. With a taste of blood, with a fallen warrior's dream of surviving this flood of chaos. Those who continue to judge a book by its cover are way off. Breaking these laws of a scarred prison, reminiscing of pain, taming niggas up in the system. Got us living a lie with a cry, nobody hears ya. Chances of survive to revive an immortal lie. Breaking these bars of a scarred prison, reminiscing of pain, taming niggas up in the system. Got us living a lie with a cry, nobody hears ya. Chances of survive to revive an immortal lie.
We're conditioned to be housebroken and weekend. Labor all week, pay them, and with the rest, drive away the weekend. Wires and voltages set strategically to damage chakras. Make sure to take those prescriptions given to you by the doctor. Wash it down with contaminated water. Worship a holy father, eat trash food, remain drained for the slaughter. Mother Nature's now the Illuminati's daughter. Through molestation, unnoticed by the blind line in every nation. Not allowed to know God is present in each and every individual. Ancient truth forgotten except the Bohemian Grove rituals. Inbred bloodlines created a ruling class of elites, cold as reptiles. The awoken even see the signs on the streets. Encryptions pass off as fiction and paranoia reaction. 33s and bows with skulls are laughing right now with Kennedy's assassin. 2 pillars burning. History repeats as I babble on truth. Write down our fate for centuries. I change their plans when I'm up in the booth.
Everlasting pressures of life got me up in the night, not knowing if I'm wrong or right. Something within me tells me to fight, and it's like I'm trying to find the true nature of being God-like versus religious beliefs, which indeed tells me I'm doomed from day one out the womb. They want us to be consumed with fear, with negative thoughts engineered to fear God, and that's to fear oneself, and that's real. You tell me that I'm imperfect, how is that when everything's for a reason? You forget that everything is meant to be. But they got us withering away, not knowing sacred geometry, which degrades philosophy of every soul, in which they try to control your mind with limitations, over exceeding your expectations. You'll be considered an outcast with lacerations, so I continue to master patience, creating ways to make it through the Piscean age that's getting close to the Aquarian stage. As I stand strong on my God-given ride, it's my life against all lies to penetrate these imprisoned walls that creates flaws and false laws. So y'all niggas better recognize before you die, before you had the chance to survive, and that's breaking these walls of a scarred prison, reminiscing of pain, taming niggas up in the system. Got us living a lie with a cry, nobody hears ya. Chance to survive to revive an immortal lie. Breaking these bars of a scarred prison, reminiscing of pain, taming niggas up in the system. Got us living a lie with a cry, nobody hears ya. Chance to survive to revive an immortal lie. Breaking these bars of a scarred prison, reminiscing of pain, taming niggas up in the system. Got us living a lie with a cry, nobody hears ya. Chance to survive to revive an immortal lie. Breaking these bars of a scarred prison, reminiscing of pain, taming niggas up in the system. Got us living a lie with a cry, nobody hears ya. Chance to survive to revive an immortal lie.